Before he became the president of South Africa and a global symbol of peace, Nelson Mandela was a young man with a dream of freedom, equality, and justice for his people. His life is not just a story of struggle, but a lesson in patience, forgiveness, and hope. This is his story, told in simple English for everyone who wants to learn and be inspired. Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela was born on July 18, 1918, in a small village called Mvezo in the Eastern Cape of South Africa. His father was a local chief, and his mother was a kind, caring woman who taught him about respect and community. Nelson grew up herding cattle and playing with other boys in the fields. Life in the village was simple, but full of meaning. He listened to stories of great African heroes who had fought for their people. These stories planted a seed in his heart. One day, he too wanted to fight for his people's freedom. Mandela was the first in his family to attend school. His teacher gave him the English name Nelson. At school, he learned about history, law, and the world beyond his village. He also learned that in South Africa, Black people were not treated equally. They had to live in poor areas, could not vote, and had to carry special passes. This made young Nelson angry and confused. Why should people be judged by their skin color? He decided to study more, to understand how the system worked and how it could be changed. After finishing his studies, Mandela moved to Johannesburg. The city opened his eyes to the harsh realities of apartheid, a system that separated Black and white people in every part of life. Mandela worked as a law clerk and later studied law at the University of Witwatersrand. He met many people who shared his dream of equality. Together, they joined the African National Congress, ANC, an organization that fought for Black South Africans' rights. Mandela soon became one of its most active members, organizing protests, strikes, and campaigns. In the 1940s and 1950s, Mandela helped lead peaceful protests against unfair laws. He believed in nonviolence, inspired by Mahatma Gandhi's teachings. But the government responded with violence, arresting, beating, and even killing protesters. Mandela was arrested several times, but he never gave up. He once said, "I have cherished the ideal of a democratic and free society in which all persons live together in harmony." He knew this dream might cost him his freedom or even his life. In 1962, the government finally arrested Mandela and accused him of trying to overthrow the state. He was sentenced to life in prison. For the next 27 years, he lived behind bars, mostly on Robben Island. Prison life was hard. Mandela and other prisoners had to work in a limestone quarry every day under the hot sun. They were allowed few visits and little contact with their families. Yet, Mandela stayed strong. He educated other prisoners, taught them about leadership, and continued to believe in peace. He even learned Afrikaans, the language of his oppressors, to understand them better. While Mandela was in prison, the world began to learn about his struggle. People around the globe protested for his release. Songs were written about him, and "Free Nelson Mandela" became a rallying cry. The South African government faced growing pressure from other countries. In the 1980s, as protests grew and the apartheid system began to weaken, people knew change was coming. Mandela's name became a symbol of hope and courage. On February 11, 1990, Nelson Mandela finally walked out of prison. Millions watched him on television, smiling and raising his fist. He was 71 years old, older, wiser, but unbroken. Instead of calling for revenge, Mandela called for peace. He said, "As I walked out the door toward the gate that would lead to my freedom, I knew if I didn't leave my bitterness and hatred behind, I'd still be in prison." His forgiveness amazed the world. In 1994, South Africa held its first free and fair election. Black and white citizens voted together for the first time. Nelson Mandela became the country's first Black president. He focused on healing the wounds of the past, building unity, and creating a future where everyone could live equally. He started programs for education, housing, and healthcare. Mandela's leadership showed that peace and forgiveness could rebuild even the most divided nation. After serving one term, Mandela stepped down as president in 1999, proving that true leaders know when to pass the torch. He continued to work for global peace, HIV/AIDS awareness, and children's rights. Even after his death in 2013, his message lives on. Schools, streets, and foundations around the world carry his name. He remains a symbol of courage, humility, and the power of forgiveness. Nelson Mandela's story teaches us many lessons. Never give up on what you believe is right. Education is the most powerful weapon you can use to change the world. Forgiveness is not weakness, it is strength. True leadership is about service, not power. Mandela once said, "It always seems impossible until it's done." His life proves that even one person with faith and courage can change the course of history. Nelson Mandela's journey from a small village boy to a world icon is a reminder that greatness does not come from comfort, but from struggle and purpose. His life shines as a light of hope for all humanity. He showed that peace can triumph over hatred and unity can overcome division. His legacy reminds us to build bridges, not walls, between people. Mandela's spirit continues to inspire generations to dream boldly and act with compassion. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us create more inspiring stories every week.